Back to the Kentucky Derby preps. Let's go to the Bluegrass. Keeneland, Lexington, Kentucky. It looked like it could have been a snow globe early on. Luckily enough, the snow let up and it actually turned into a decent enough afternoon. This was the field you had 14 that went in the Grade 2 Bluegrass down there. All eyes were on the 2-year-old champion. Good magic for Chad Brown. Was he going to be able to get back to the 2-year-old form that we had seen, get back to a performance similar to what we saw in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, when it was so impressive, beating Bolt Doro, beating Solimini, beating a number of other talented horses? Or were we going to get the sort of dull effort that we saw in his return effort down at Gulfstream Park just a few weeks prior? You had other hard hitters in here. You had Free Drop Billy getting back to the scene of his biggest win to date, the Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity as a 2-year-old. You had an import coming in from California in Kantaka, who a lot of people were very, very high on. You had Flame Away, who was a gutsy horse down at Tampa Bay Downs all winter. Would he be able to handle a little bit of additional distance and getting out against better horses? Here we are. Kurt Becker with the stretch run of the Bluegrass.
Sporting Chances third. Free Drop Billy fourth is still 5 lengths away. And Good Magic has taken the lead from Flame Away, coming toward the final furlong. Gap of 3, Sporting Chance in third. Free Drop Billy fighting on but fourth. Good Magic with the lead. Flame Away giving everything he's got but second. Sporting Chance third. Free Drop Billy in fourth. Blended Citizen fifth. Good Magic to the front of the field in the Toyota Bluegrass to win it for Chad Brown and Jose Ortiz in 1 minute 36.
The 2-year-old champion gets it done. Good Magic. He is the winner of the Toyota Bluegrass, pays $5.20 on top. The number 12, Flame Away, runs second, $5 to place. And the 10, Free Drop Billy, via disqualification, is moved up to third, $3.60 to show. The $1 Exacta comes back $12.70. The 50-cent Trifecta comes back $23.50. And the 10-cent Superfecta, 11, 12, 10, and 2, comes back $26.76. Good Magic, the 2-year-old champion. He is back on the beam. He gets a second lifetime victory, both of them in stakes races, graded stakes action. He is 2 of 5 lifetime. He's never been out of the money. He is over $1.8 million in career earnings, owned by E5 Racing Thoroughbreds and Stone Street Stables, LLC, trained by Chad Brown, bred by Stone Street Thoroughbred Holdings, LLC, in Kentucky, ridden to victory by Jose Ortiz. Pedigree at the bottom of the page. He's by Curlin out of a hard-spun mare named Glinda the Good. 95 buyer, 122 time form U.S. rating for Good Magic. Came home in 13:31. Flame Away, 93 buyer, 121 time form U.S. rating. Came home in 13:31. Sporting Chance got a little bit drifty at the end there. We've seen this before from Sporting Chance. 91 buyer, 116 time form U.S. rating. Came home in 13:35. Disqualified, placed 4th. Free Drop Billy moved up to third. 89 buyer, 118 time form U.S. rating. Came home in 13:23. What does all of this mean? First things first about the race. Good Magic. I understand there are a lot of people that were excited to see him get back to his winning ways. Understand completely. I'm concerned for a couple of different reasons. One, for the final 16th of a mile, he popped back to his left lead. That's the most major red flag to me. I understand he carried a lot of ground in the first turn, down the backside, even into the far turn. But the fact that he popped to his left lead, which he has never done before, maybe he was a tired horse, but guess what? To me, that's not a good thing, because you got to go another 1/8 of a mile 4 weeks from now. That's a concern. Concern number one. Concern number two is this field that he defeated. This was not a spectacular field. I made mention last week on the preview show that for some reason this race, the Bluegrass, has not necessarily transitioned to success or equaled success in the Kentucky Derby recently. It just hasn't. It hasn't been a productive race for that race specifically. Down the road, good horses have come out of the race, but for the Kentucky Derby, the Bluegrass has not been necessarily a productive race. A lot of that has to do with the quality of the field that has run in the Bluegrass. Calling a spade, this is going to have been the weakest field, and I suppose you can argue with the quality of the field in the Wood, which we'll get to a little bit later on, but this was not a spectacular field running in the Bluegrass. And I like Flame Away. He is a gutsy little horse, but he doesn't exude Kentucky Derby winner vibes. That's not him. I feel like he's a true blue-collar horse. He's easy to root for. He's a nice, likable horse, but I don't look at him as a Kentucky Derby winner. Maybe I'll be surprised in a few weeks. Good Magic had to work as hard as he did to beat Flame Away, and again, Flame Away is not one to fold and go away lightly, but if Good Magic was what everybody had billed him to be, he's supposed to just blow the doors off this field. Then the third thing that's a major concern for me. From a time form US standpoint, he is at least as good or close to what he was as a 2-year-old. From a Beyer standpoint, this 95 Beyer, at least it gets him closer to what he ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which he earned a 100. I don't think he's getting any better. And I know he's only run twice as a 3-year-old. Maybe that I'm being a little bit quick and a little bit soon to throw him out. But at the same time, we're here now. It's time. You're going to need to run the best race of your life to win in 4 weeks at Churchill Downs. And I'm not convinced that he's going to do it. Between the left lead, working as hard as he did to beat this field, and I just don't think he's getting any better. Good Magic to me is a horse going forward. Would it stun me if he won the Kentucky Derby? It probably wouldn't stun me, but I would be a little bit surprised. There's not enough positive for me right now about this horse based on the way that he returned down in Florida, popping to the left lead, not getting necessarily any faster, when it seems like everybody else is improving. I don't think he necessarily is. Maybe he hasn't made that jump from 2 to 3. And again, there are a number of people that were thrilled with that effort on Saturday and think that he can move forward on it. Maybe he can. Count me in the group that thinks otherwise. I don't love his chances going forward in the Kentucky Derby. Flame Away, I've talked about it. Really cool little horse. I have to be honest. I understand they're going to go into the Kentucky Derby. I would love to see him run in the American turf. Not going to happen. But keep in the back of your mind, he's an Ontario bred. Don't be surprised if he is ultimately the favorite for a race like the Queen's Plate here coming up in a few months up at Woodbine. Sporting Chance on the DQ. If he goes into the Kentucky Derby, I don't like his chances. I don't think he wants to go that far. More and more, I think he is going to be best going one turn. Free Drop Billy, I've always liked him, but I have to admit, I don't know that he's getting any better. He just seems like a grinder, just going to chug along and clip off 24 and change 25-second quarter miles, and that's not good enough to win the race. Maybe all of a sudden he becomes an intriguing underneath play in a race like the Derby. Can he run 3rd or 4th? Certainly, if there's a hot enough pace and he can come with that run and that sustained bid. But I'm liking him less and less as a potential contender for a race like the Kentucky Derby. But neither here nor there. At the end of the day, the winner of the Bluegrass and going in good winning form is the 2-year-old champion, Good Magic. He gets back to his winning ways, earns a 95 Beyer speed figure and a 122 Timeform US rating.